Right now in Florida, sellers are in full panic mode as home inventory stacks up to numbers we have not seen in probably 7 or 8 years, going behind what is supposed to be one of the busiest times of year, moving season. Spring into summer, kids are out of school, tax refunds are coming back, and ultimately what that's supposed to precipitate is a falling off of the high listing count. Sellers bring their homes into the spring season. Usually they're met by voracious buyers looking to relocate during that moving season before kids go back to school in August. And as we are now going into the tail end of 2024, we are going to shed a spotlight on what is massively transitioning in the Florida marketplace. That is the Miami, Tampa, and Jacksonville marketplaces. And if you appreciate the data, the research, and time that goes in to making sure that you know exactly what's going on throughout the state of Florida, do me a favor, smash the thumbs up so that as many people as possible can see this video. And I'm back to the channel. I've been off for almost 2 weeks. I decided to take a few days off for vacation and then ended up getting pretty sick, which hasn't happened to me in a really long time, but I also haven't taken too much time off. But nonetheless, I'm going to jump back in this video. This is really going to be pretty much done live. So give me some forgiveness and grace if I run off at what I'm talking about. You're actually going to see me reviewing these marketplaces in real time here on this channel. Look at this. Miami, Fort Lauderdale. This is, by the way, the entire metro area of Miami. So what are we looking at is regional data to start. And where are we getting that? We're getting that from the Florida Association of Realtors, straight out of their data portal that only licensed real estate agents can get hold of. Let me show you what I'm talking about. The counties that we're looking at in this region is Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade. So it's this entire region is what we're looking at. It's called the Metropolitan Statistical Area. It's kind of a governmental term for what is largely referred to as the Miami metropolitan area. Now, we're looking specifically at single-family property data, okay? In a moment, I'm going to flip and show you just how bad it's gotten for the condos, because in a lot of these marketplaces around Miami, price on condos has fallen off a cliff. And if you've watched this channel, you all know why. But let's talk about single family first, okay? So as you can see, what are we seeing? In the month of July, it's the most recent data we have presented to us, is that it is climbing. And it really climbed all the way through moving season, which is unusual because ultimately, like I just told you, buyers are most active through the first 4 months, 5-6 months of the year, especially going into summer, okay? And what we saw this summer was we started the year around 12,500 listings, and we ended the season at over 13,600 listings for the metropolitan area of Miami. Now, this is up 48%. And why is this starkly different in history? Look down at the bottom. If you go back and you see the data that goes here year over year, you know, we're looking at this one side right here that shows year over year change. The data drops all the way back. Well, it will end at the very bottom here in August 2023. Look what we were doing at the end of 23 in Miami. We were down 15% in inventory, down 10, down 8. So we were running negatives. And then before long, unsold inventory. Again, how does this happen? How do we start going from negatives to finally into positive territory, which Miami was last to transition, okay? Florida was making headlines with these kinds of signs and symptoms of the marketplace seeing high levels of unsold inventory. Miami just perched last. It landed there last. Look at this. So now you have up almost 50% in the single family category, even in Miami. Now, mind you, the good news with Miami, which is not necessarily shared by the other markets that we're going to see today, is that Miami is actually running well down below its historical holding path. So if you look back here, you can see that 2016, 17, that's the far left side of the graph. Far in down here, by the way, is 2014, which is really cool for you guys because you can actually see a 10-year running history of the marketplaces on this first data point that I'm going to show you, okay? But you can see that for 7 months or so, all this data down here that we just talked about, it's running north unabated, okay? Which is amazing because that's not been happening. This is the first crack in the armor for the Miami market. Now look at this. Let's see where we're seeing some losses. Look at cash as a percentage of closed sales, okay? You can see, look at all this time where the closings in the Miami market and single family is running between 30 and 40% all this time. Okay. For the first time in about 2 years, the percentage of cash buyers that said I'm buying real estate for cash has now fallen below 30%, which is a rare number. Look how much sustained time the percentage of cash buyers exists in this particular marketplace. And that is going to be an interesting phenomenon. Obviously, for the past 2 or 3 years since all the stimmy money came into the economy to help, lift our boats during the pandemic era, all this money went out. Look how much more, closed sales from cash we have in this particular economy as a result. It never ran that high in history, except for maybe way back here when we were coming down from the last great financial collapse. There was a lot of cash activity when homes got super cheap. A lot of Florida marketplaces, plummeted from 2007 to 2012. Cash buying absorbed a ton of that inventory. And then all of a sudden, that number started to fall. And a lot of this, you'd say, well, Jared, what happened during this? A lot of borrowed money. Okay, so all this time, 2/3 of the marketplace, 75%, was being borrowed. Now, you'd say, well, Jared, what is our trend now? Well, it's been falling for 4 straight months. Okay, cash buyers are pulling back during moving season. Why is that? Well, the larger picture seems to suggest that there's nervousness about being in the housing market. Okay, and we're looking at just single family. As a reminder, this is not condos. So before you jump in the comments, say, this is all condominium problems. This is not condo data. Causes the cash buyer to walk. Concerns about their cash. Why not wait to buy? That kind of crosses the cash buyer's mind. Not buying now versus buying later is kind of premeditated or a concept they consider. The other thing is, as you're seeing the Miami market transition, finally, what is precipitating unsold inventory is the fact that interest rates have been elevated. Buyers are not having it. So the buyers that are supposed to be borrowing aren't borrowing. The ones that need to borrow to buy a house in Miami, they can't afford it. Miami still runs 30, 40% overvalued, meaning what does a person need to make in the basic economy to afford a house here? So, this is an interesting situation when you see these types of data points and you see people pulling back from the marketplace. Well, let's see how many new listings are coming. Because obviously, I just showed you that inventory is going. It's going up. Is that because new listings have exploded? It's like, okay, the buyers are there, but we just have so many more listings in the market that now it's climbing month after month. But take a look at this. You can see that in the history of Miami, where did most of this economy operate? It stayed between 5,000 and maybe 6,500 listings throughout history. Okay. New homes hitting the market. There were 5,500, 6,000, 6,500 units. Over time was a consistent push in for this market. You can see that when Jerome Powell started jacking up the interest rates, look at what happened. People that said, I don't have to sell right now. This is when interest rates went from 3 to 6, 7%. Right here, boom. People opted out in the Miami market. They ran. They're like, oh, I'm not putting my house in this market. Why? Because they didn't have to, and they did it by choice. Well, now you can see that ever since that December 2022 bottom, people have been putting more and more inventory. In fact, as of late, we were sustained over 5,000 units for the first time. Look at this. Look how long it was below 5,000 units towards the end of August 2022, all the way till January of this year. It never reached a 5,000 unit mark. Well, it's, any economy, if you don't keep putting stuff back on the shelves, even though no one's coming in the front door, let's say you own a store that just sells milk. I say milk because milk sours. It doesn't need to, it sits there too long. You have something bad happen. Same thing in the economy of real estate. Okay. If listings start to sit, right? Sellers start nail biting, the brokers, if they're smart, they're talking to the own homeowner and say, hey, you know what? In this economy, you want to be the next person out of the housing market. You don't want to be waiting. You don't want 3 or 4 people to really reduce, set a new comp, and then you sell behind them. Okay. So ultimately what's happening here is you're seeing a higher drive in listings. In fact, in April, it represented a 30% increase over last year. Well, what has to happen if listings pick up? Buyers have to buy. Let's look at the pending supply, because pending is a measure of how many buyers are buying the homes as they're hitting the market. Now, do you see pendings going up with the listings, or are they falling? You can see it. In fact, it's pitiful when you look down at the bottom compared to last year. And herein lies the problem with inventory is in July, okay, mind you, you are looking at pendings when interest rates fell below 7% finally, okay? So interest rates fell 1 percentage point below what they were approximately 4 months ago, okay? They were approximately 1% below the same time last year. So my friends, if affordability is the issue and we get an interest rate of 6.3, 6.4%, how in the world is Miami not selling houses? In fact, last year's number was pitiful, okay? So understand this. It's showing right now that Miami was down 9% less buyers contracting homes against last year, okay? That all true, okay? And that's against a number that is so dang weak. We never see that low of a sell-off, okay? So clearly there's some issues. And I didn't cover it on this channel. I did it as a bypassing story where I would just mention it for 60 seconds. I didn't do an entire video as some people did. In July, there was a record number of cancellations of these pendings. So even though you're looking at this and you're saying, Jared, you mean we put 4,800 homes in contract? Did you know that approximately 18 to 20% of that number fell out, canceled? Record levels of canceled contracts took place the same exact month. While it's fertile ground to buy, people are just, it's getting evident that it's not just the interest rate that's a problem. Okay. This is what people continuously go in the comments. They say, you know what, Jared, it's got to fall 20, 30, 40%, or I'm not buying. I am not getting back in. And then sellers who are now having to put themselves in a position where they are selling. And I'm telling you, you're seeing layoffs increase, you're seeing job data weakening, and all at the same time, you have interest rates coming down. Now, why are interest rates down right now? They're down because the marketplace is already factoring in the Federal Reserve cutting rates in a couple of weeks, okay? They're already there. The rate cut that will happen is already built in since today's 30-year fixed. Now, you have sellers on the sideline, some of which are getting very aggressive in terms of their response to all this data, okay? They're saying, no, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to reduce the price now. I'm going to get this thing gone. And you have some people who are sitting there hoping. They're saying to themselves, well, there's nothing happening. I'm getting 0 showings on my property. This is happening across Florida, not just in Miami. But you're seeing big increases in Miami, month over month, of even more inventory. So Miami appears to finally be going through this leaping amount of more homes, because people are bringing them to the market at the same time the buyers are buying them. For whatever reason, tell me in the comments, why do you think people are selling their houses more now? Like, if they had this ability back in 2022, like all these sellers just disappeared, didn't list houses when it was not that great back in 2022 towards the end of the year, they just strategically played away from it. Why are people now not doing the exact same thing? Why is this changed? Why are people now saying, even though things look equally, if not worse than 2022, fall season, why are we going into fall season and people are still opting to push this in? So that's the question. You have the answer, John, in the comments. Pendings down 9, down 4.8, down 7.8, down 6.1, down 3.4, down -8.6, down -7.2. All right, so let's look at closed inventory, by the way. If pendings are off this much, I expect you're going to see some down, some up, okay? Look at the closings. Up 6, down almost 9, down 1, or up 1 rather, up 9.5, down -12.5, up 3, up 4, or almost 5, okay? So here's the, on balance, if you balance this out, we're probably maybe break even to this point in the year with closed sales versus last year. Now, let me show you something else, okay? What you're looking at on the screen right now, this is a Reventure app score, okay? People are saying, where do you get this data, Jared? Well, this is a app that filters data from Zillow, from Rent.com, from Census Spirit, all this kind of stuff, provided by a company called Reventure. And again, I'm going to tell you where those data points are because people always come in the comments. But look what's happening in Palm Beach County, for instance. This app, which you'd say, Jared, why is it showing the line going straight down in Palm Beach County? Well, that's because it's saying it's a buyer's market. See this line down the middle? When it was above this line, it was a seller favored market. Now, how do we get that? Well, because this graph is tracking recent price appreciation or price growth. It's tracking how long it takes to sell. It's tracking the mortgage rates as it affects people's affordability in a particular area. It tracks inventory levels. So it's how people start dashing their homes on the market, and then ultimately price cuts. Okay. So it takes market behavior and it tells you how these marketplaces are doing. Now, if you pull back on Florida, look at the greater market of Florida. A lot of it is blue because this app is saying that these markets that are really blue are undergoing very big change, like Port St. Lucie, Central Florida, Polk County, Lakeland area, all over here on the Southwest coast. Look where it is lightest, okay? The markets that are lightest or even hot, you have some of the Tallahassee College areas, except for Gainesville is cold. And then you have these internal areas that are really just cheap. No one lives in them. They're rural. But then you have part of Tampa, which is showing it is definitely cold. Understand, when it's 38 on a chart for this app, that means it's transitioning negative. And again, anything blue, you can look at it and say, what is it projecting that price will do? Okay, so the more blue it is, it's price going down. If it's blue at all, it's price going down. Okay, so these are what's called buyer favored markets. And then as you can see down here, and again, this is a county view. You have Broward looking the worst, Palm Beach directly behind Broward, and then you have Miami-Dade, who is the strongest of the lot. And because we're going to cover these two markets up here, I'm going to show you these as well. You can see there's a 38, which, by the way, the Tampa market at a 38 is below all three of these, okay? And the Pinellas County is absolutely getting blown out. It's at a 33. It's one of the lowest markets in the country. And that's, I think, probably because it's got a lot of condo exposure, which honestly, all these markets do too. So that's going to be interesting to see how that. Let's look at Duval County, by the way. Duval's at 37. Duval's got the lowest score of all three. But let's focus back on what we are looking at here on this particular chart. So let's take a look at home value growth, okay? So if we look at year-over-year home value growth, you can see that Miami-Dade is still one of the hottest markets. It's up 7.7 year-over-year in home price. Palm Beach is up 3% year-over-year in home price. And Broward County is still up 4.7% in home price. Let me just take a quicker look. I want to show you the home value trending, okay? Because you need to understand, look at the hottest market in the country, okay? What does this look like going back to like 2012? It looks like it's sponsored by SpaceX. I like to say that a lot. That's what's happening. But take a look. If you look across Miami-Dade, it looks like you might see some of its path kind of petering out. And this is Miami by itself, okay? If I take the entire metro area, you're going to see these markets are far different than even Miami. Look at this. I'm gonna give you, it's hard to see this graph because you look at Broward, for instance, and it just looks like everything's vertical. But if you narrow it down and just take like a 2-year view, look how level and flat. It's even fallen a little. So here we are, killing the moving season. And when you have, look at this, your chart history looks like this, like vertical, straight up. And now what you have going on in Broward is price reckoning. Now, again, remember, it's just turning a roof. It's just hitting a ceiling. It's just turning down. Where if you look at the last 3 months, if you look at this, July, back month, June, you look at May, you're going to see that these are, it flattened and it fell, which is unusual. You do not see this. You got to go back way, a long way to see Broward, and to see Broward doing that during peak season is fascinating. Same with this market. So again, look at this. You can see it just vertical, straight up. And again, this everybody loves to go in my comments, but oh, you're saying it's crashing. It's not about the crash. It's about the trend, man. It's about this. It's about, okay, what's it doing right now? Okay, you saw it bend right here too. This was a huge deceleration after it was just going straight up, and then it got its legs under it. Now it looks like whatever is happening now, it's praying time in that area. Okay, what do they say? Pretend and extend, and then pray. There's like a market analogy. Like at first you're doing everything you can to hope it just keeps going, and then at one point you're praying that it's pray and delay. It's pretend and extend. It's the first cycle, and then it's pray and delay, and that's kind of where our greater economy is right now. We're in the pray and delay phase. Anybody know what happens after that? It gets crazy. And by the way, if you need help buying or selling in this market anywhere in Florida, give us a call. Buying or selling. People love to tell me in the comments, like, you're being disingenuous because you're asking people if they want help buying that you'd help them to buy. And they look at the data I'm giving them, and they say, it's disingenuous to tell people what's happening in a softening market and then say, I'll help you buy. That is crazy to me. Like, disingenuous is telling somebody to buy no matter what. I would never say that. I don't think everybody should buy. However, I do know that regardless of what you do, people are going to buy. There's going to be people that, I don't care if you tell them it's going to tip 30% tomorrow, they will still buy. They want to buy. Their life is going to demand that they do that. And then people go and say, well, isn't it, you're being disingenuous by asking people to, for their help, for you to offer your help to buy or sell. It's like, I'm just the umpire. I call balls and strikes, man. Someone's still going to go up to the plate, try to hit a ball. If I'm the best umpire and you want a data-driven approach to help buying or selling a home, call our team. It's like, why would I let someone who's going to buy anyways go to a lesser agent? Obviously, I've been reading the comments while I've been sick. It's exciting. All right, let's look at the value growth. Okay, so we saw value growth year over year. Let's look at inventory trends. So inventory year over year, look at this. Inventory is up it's 71% in Palm Beach. It's up in Broward County, 80 or 90%, 91%. Okay. And Miami-Dade is tracking behind. Listen, gang, Miami-Dade is catching up. Okay. So if I go and, for instance, I show you sale inventory growth month over month, and I go to zip code. Okay. Look at all these red. See all this red down here? People are going to say, Jared, that's not Miami. Okay, well, let's go closer. Here's Miami Beach. Here's Miami. Here's all theirs. Look how much orange and red this is down here. Now, if I pull back, look how much blue there is in the north. See all the blue up here? I know you see it. And then you see here, you see how it's predominantly red with like a couple blues? Jared, what am I looking at? This is sale inventory growth from June to July. That's just a 1 month jump. Some of these are big chumps. 12% up. In 1 month, their entire inventory load went up 14, 13, 15% in a single month. Where is it happening? It's happening in the South. Why do you not see them up here? Because they're already backloaded with inventory. They're in the game already. They're already heavy with unsold inventory. So it's a matter of time. All right, let's take a look. I want to show you where some opportunities are to make some deals happen. Okay, so let's look at home value growth year over year in these markets. Anything that is red is the hottest in West Palm Beach. Okay, so you can see, look at all the red markets. I would bet you money a lot of these red markets that you see, like out here in Westlake, 33413, for instance, 33406, all this, Lake Worth. I bet you these aren't the most expensive areas that have this high of price growth. You'd say, well, Jared, why do you think they're that high? I think they're that high because that's what's left to afford. Okay. So I think a lot of these last running markets that are still high. So we're here on Boca. Look at Boca. You have 33486 is at 5.2, 33496 is 7.3% up. Probably wrong on that one because the median price there is like 900 grand. But look at, you have some that are falling. Deerfield Beach, negative 2.3% year over year. That's a cheapo one. It's 200K for average. Pompano Beach. By the way, look at the coastal side areas that are falling in price. Negative, 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 negative. Why are these areas of Miami Beach going up? Look at Miami, -1 year over year. Why are these posting problems on the coast? Jump in the comments if you know the answer. Okay. Now look, inland, look at the heat in the south. Look at these big numbers, up 13.2%. $1 million properties, 33156, all through here. Again, I'm not going to call all these zip codes, but you can see, look where the heat is, price-wise. And now, all of a sudden, what's happening? Cash buyers are down, inventory month over month, and a lot of these areas go into the roof. It's changing. It's changing. Again, granted, I will say, because I know there's realtors in the comments, it's only changing because it's tipping towards fall season. This is part of the seasonality of the market. Yeah, but you can see the numbers are elevated. Okay, that's all. It's all point now. It's elevated, and your price is slowing down like epically. Okay, so either we pull out of that going into 2025, or we don't. Okay, either you pull out of that or you go into correction. There is a fork in the road, my friends, that is coming. All right, let me see if there's anything that I have left unsaid. Let me show you one important thing. Okay, this is a really cool data point that I want to show you for Tampa. This is the, by the way, tell me if you like these kinds of data graphs updates where we're actually kind of going through the marketplace and showing everything. If you like it, like played out like this, because, some people just jump on and just, and I can do this too, where I'm doing a 10, 15 minute snapshot of like 5 or 6 top line points. And I point out specific things, and then that's just an edited, simple video. But look at this. The median list price year over year. This is a fascinating chart, folks. So this right here shows you where the asking prices in a given area are cratering, meaning sellers are so nervous. When this number is down, that means the seller and the area brokers, the real estate agents, are bringing the house to the marketplaces. It's trailing negative. That's a leading indicator that prices in those given areas are probably going down soon, especially if they stay on. They've shared. So take a look at this. Look at some of these numbers, -20%. And I don't know, this is an $850,000 marketplace, -27%. Let's see if it's been, we'll look at this. Look at the trend there, 33410. And again, look, this is a more volatile market. There's some times where this marketplace gets soft because a lot of times what I call this particular graph, median list price usually never goes below 0. It's very rarely that it falls. This line, by the way, right here is the 0 line. When you start going down beneath it, that means you're posting properties at negative. Look at this zip code though. It's never been this far below the 0 line, that zip code. Okay. So, and you take note of the blue ones. The red ones are obviously hot. They're like pricing them way over last year. And that doesn't mean they're going to sell them. That just means they ain't gotten the message yet. The ones that are blue, these are areas where the sentiment, look at it as a sentiment report. Like it's not good. Look at this. This is a high wealth area. And in sometime about a year ago, it fell negative and it stayed there. So, it'll be interesting to see how this total economy median price does. It's 33405. Lake Worth down 15%. And we saw some negative stuff in Lake Worth before. I'm sorry, it's up. Lake Worth was hot. Its price is high. So this is just insane. That's just super hot market, posting big gains year over year. Boynton Beach. down 14%. 33446. Very volatile market. Delray Beach. Boca down 20 and 33432. Pompano Beach, downtown. Look at Fort Lauderdale. By the way, this isn't a surprise. If you follow Redfin's data, they do a weekly release. Fort Lauderdale leads the country in negative price over last year. So this is actually one of the faster so-called depreciating, again, according to what Redfin's been posting. Just because it's not even they're way out ahead of everybody else. Hollywood's got some coolness going on. Pembroke Pine out here to the west. Again, even the coastal areas heading Miami. Look at this. Let me show you something. Look at this. Broward County. This is a rolling chart of a median list price in the condo market in Broward. Okay, so this right here, you have a property peak in here is $339,000 for median list price in Broward. Make sure I'm there. Yep, Broward. So $339,000. Look where it's at now. $290,000. Palm Beach, trailing down finally. Okay, let me just make sure. Yeah, Palm Beach County, flat for a long, long time. Look where it's at now. Since February, it's $345,000. In Palm Beach, down to $320,000, trailing down. Look at this. This is Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade looking crazy. So median list price for condos in Miami-Dade peaked July 22. It had an average at 600, 630. Let's call it the minute. $630,000. Right now, $510,000. It has absolutely fallen off a cliff. And again, that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing all this coastal area stuff getting ice cold. And I know. So people are going to go in my comments next and they're like, hey, you know what that is, Jared? That's all the old buildings. Good. No disagreement. Okay. There's 900,000 condos that fall under these massive assessment, inspection requirements, all this kind of stuff that's taking place. So being that is the case, none of that surprises me. Okay. All right. Let's move on. I want to go ahead and pull the Tampa marketplace and jump in. We're going to start by looking just like we did before. We're going to look at all of the market data for single family. We're going to look at a long running history. And let's go ahead and start with active inventory. Okay. Look at that. Okay. So Tampa, a lot of real estate in the market here. Unlike Miami, remember Miami was running up for a year straight, just like you're seeing here on the screen. But one thing you're going to see here about Tampa is running against, they're elevated. There's many years here, 16, 17, 18, where they had less inventory in the market than they do right now. Okay. Looking at the bottom here, active inventory in Tampa is up 83% year over year. Again, look at Miami, just like Miami down here. When you look at December, they were barely over last year. They were at 2.9% year over year. And the months following that, going back, 7-8 months ago, they were negative. They had less inventory than a year prior in the fall of last year. You think we're going to have a different marketplace in Tampa in 2024 than we did in 23? You bet your life. There is way more inventory. Okay. Let's take a look. So what else we want to see here? Oh man, you know what I forgot to show you? Months of supply in Miami. We'll come back to that. New listings. Okay. So new listings in Tampa, you can see, where does Tampa usually have market volume hitting? Right around 5,000 units. Okay. So cut a line right here before the pandemic, former normal times. This is where they were. They were at 5,000 units. They would go sometimes get to 5,500. They really stayed 45 to 5,300, something like that. Okay. So that's mostly where all this volume was month after month. Interesting. They actually got over 5,000 units, much like Miami. That's fascinating. That is fascinating. Interesting. That is big time elevated because they were barely over 4,000 units most of last year. So you can see for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the last 6 months of time, they're putting a lot more inventory on the market than the entire year to year and a half prior to 2024. Okay. So that's not good, especially if pendings are down. So let's look at pending inventory. Look at pending inventory. Again, while you have all this inventory hitting in Tampa, what's happening? Less and less and less buyers. Negative 14% last month, negative 7.3 the month prior, negative 13, negative 10, negative 7. They haven't had a single positive. So that's a very bad mix. That is a very bad mix, my friends. Let's look what's going on in median sale price in this particular marketplace. This is median sale price. No, it's not. That's pending inventory. Sorry. So median sale price is stay flat. If you look back all the way till June, if you bought a home in Tampa in June, you were paying $418,000. Look at where it was last month, $416,000. Okay, so it is now below what it was 25 months ago. Okay, this is what happens with buyers. Buyers then start to get a trend of saying FOMO isn't a thing anymore. Fear of missing out, right? Because this back here creates FOMO. Like if I don't buy now, it'll be 50,000 more by next year. This right here is a catastrophe for buyer demand, because what happens is the buyers then think to themselves, well, I'm only putting 4% down, 3.5% down. If I buy this house and I can hold it for only 2 years and then my work moves me somewhere else, I have two options. I'm either going to have to rent this home out, or I'm going to have to then put this thing back on the market. Well, if I put it back on the market, I only put 3.5% down and it's dead flat, then what's going to happen? That person pays 3.5% down payment, another 3.5%, 4% in closing costs. So they're out of pocket on the way in. They're up 3 to 4% cost over what they paid just for the closing. Forget the sale price being identical maybe 2 years later. And then they're going to have 4 to 6% cost on the way out. That person could be bringing, when they factor what their closing costs were and their cost out, they could be bringing around 10% of the sale between the two, between the purchase cost and the sale price, when it's dead to flat. Okay. This causes concern because buyers then have to have a long-term ownership concept in mind. Okay. And again, this isn't for everybody, and don't think I'm denigrating buying, but we have a situation, my friends, because it's not doing anything. And the interesting thing is what happens from here as inventory continues to climb unabated in Tampa. And again, we are only looking at single family. Look at the asking price of condos in this particular market. Okay. I am amazed. This is inventory, by the way. So inventory on the condo market has just gone from 800, 600 units to now over 3,500 units. Now look at this. This is condo units in Pinellas. Okay, Pinellas is obviously coastal. That's where we want to be paying attention. That's where all the condo volume is. 3,500 units. Look at the past. They sat on 2,000 units at a time. Look at the price, asking prices now for condos here. Median list. Look at it. It peaked at around 429, 425. Let's call it 425. And then look where it is now. 425 to 319. It's over 100. Huge fall. Look at the asking prices right now going, and this is live going into September. Okay. 315,000. Look where it was pre-pandemic. December of 2020. Let's go to July of 2020. It was 263,000. The condo asking price for this market segment is fallen way off from where it is. And again, this is a whole nother video, but it's incredible what's going on in that market. All right, let's take a look. Cash sales. Are cash sales taking a pinch? I'd be surprised if cash percentage is still high, but it could be. Nope, it's running down. So look at this, 5-6 months straight They peaked at 27% and they're down. And again, they're really odd where they're pre-pandemic levels. At Tampa, again, this is Tampa tire marketplace. Like, Tampa's not Miami. You didn't have humongous sustained surge. It was a little elevated here, but it's kind of back where it was. The problem is buyers aren't buying with the interest rates where they are in Tampa. And you're not seeing this being picked off by the cash buyers. The cash buyers have left. Let's look at months of supply, months of inventory. This is a very important record right here. So look at this. So months of inventory is 84% over last year. Months of supply measures if you stop listing homes, the current inventory levels, how long would it take you to sell them? This is what really drives sellers to reduce prices, this elevated, okay? So above all, if this goes up, sellers get the itch to reduce the price. Look where it was historically. Most of Tampa has been running around 2.8%, okay? Pre-pandemic. Then it falls off when there's no inventory and then it comes back up. And it's at 3.5 months of supply now. And it's been going straight up, like straight up. And this isn't good. This just means anybody that has to sell is facing a larger cliff to get up. By the way, let me pull Miami because I did not pull the metro area's month supply and I want to see it. See the difference? It's petering out a little bit, but it's still elevated. Look at theirs. So single family inventory is at 4.5 months. And again, even though you're like, Jared, that's higher than Tampa. Tampa's 3.6. Yeah, but look at the history of Miami. Is it above history or is it below it? It's not above. It's not elevated against history. Miami is only 35-40% single family homes, by the way. It's 60% condominiums. So the marketplace there runs a little bit different. So housing is not what everybody's shot for when you go to Miami. And that's what we're looking at. We're looking at housing. All right, let's see. Do I have anything else I want to show you? New listings. Did we look at new listings? No, we did not. Let's take a look. Are people pushing listings in Tampa? Again, we saw this before. There's 5,000 units. It's been elevated recently. We did pull that up. All right, let's go to Reventure. Let's take a look. The scores in Miami. Let's see where you can find deals in the Miami metro area. I'm going to flip the zip code. First, I'm going to click this, come back out, zip, and we're going to take a look at our softest markets here. Okay. So hopefully you can't hear my dogs in the background. My family's here and they're probably playing with them. But take a look at this. So look at the coastal areas. Wow. 28. Madeira Beach. Treasure Island, St. Pete Beach. Is this Treasure Island as well? Yes, I think so. Look at this. 29. Oh, South Pasadena, 29. So you can see a lot of the markets. Really? So these ones in the 20s, you see that are dark. Those are massively shifting. St. Pete has been just getting baked in inventory for a long time. Look at North Tampa. A lot of people want to see north of Tampa. So let me pull it up here. Okay, look at the outer areas. 30s. These are all heavily favored buyer markets. Spring Hill, 30, 31. Coming down, 27, 28, 27, 27, 28, 28, 28. So these are where the shit. This is a cool snapshot. Zephyr Hills is out here at 32. Coming down. Some of these areas, Ruskin, I think there's 55 plus communities in these areas right here. People call me from down bottom of Riverview, some of these areas out here. They're like, Jared, pull my house. And they're way soft. This area is way, way, way soft. 31, 26, Sun City Center, right? 55 plus. Is that where you all are? Put that in the comments. I want to hear from you. How do you see your market right now? Look at Tampa, downtown, 29. On the airport, kind of cold. Look at some of these markets, not so much yet. Okay, some of them, this one's even a seller's market. 33626, seller's market. 33548, right on the fence between buyer and seller. All right, so that's the Tampa market right now. Okay. All right. Now let's go to Jacksonville. Let's go to Jacksonville. I'm gonna jump. I know you're probably saying, Jared, show me Tampa. I want to see some price cuts and stuff like that. If that's a video you want me to make, let me know. I'll come back to Tampa and show you some more data points. Let's go ahead and look at Jacksonville. Jacksonville making headlines, one of the softest markets. Jacksonville posted some of the biggest rental property losses. Asking rents are falling in Jacksonville. Some of the top declines in the country. Why would that happen? Well, it's kind of interesting because you would think if rents are falling, then people must be buying houses, must be owning them, not renting them, right? How's it leading the way? Look at inventory levels. So inventory right here, you can see pushes up against 8,000 units. And it looks like it fell off in 2018, but it got right back up before the pandemic, and then it plummeted. Everything in Jacksonville sold off. And it's been in a sustained increase ever since. Again, friends, this is the resale market. This is the used home inventory. This is not to consider the fact that markets like Jacksonville, markets like Orlando, markets like Tampa, they're a hotbed for development. They're a hotbed for massive amounts of new apartments exploding and being finished and being pushed in the market this year. But they're also an explosion of production builders. These markets, huge numbers of production builders are pushing inventory against. This is just person owns a home, puts it back on the market. That's the resale market that we're looking at. You can take a look. It looks like it flattened out from June to July. Okay. But it has been on a tear, just like all the other markets. From January on, it's been going up. Jacksonville went off the floor faster than any other market in the state of Florida, by the way. So when we were bottomed out, Jacksonville in March of 2022, it went straight up, lost a little, and then just kept on going back north. So the thing is with Jacksonville, its inventory is back where it used to be. Let's look at new listings, see if it's still being. Looks like it's on a 4-month downward trend, which is good. But look at Jacksonville. I mean, your inventory here, in normal time, Jacksonville's 2,500, 3,000 units of new listings, and you're living in that same zone. So while a lot of these marketplaces are down, if you were to look at Tampa, Orlando, Miami, their new listing push is down here. And if this is history up here, right where they are today is not near towards the top. They're trending on the upper 75, 80% of what this market puts out there. All right. So this is a lot of new listings. February, 33%. April, up almost 30% year over year. Now, are they selling them? That's the question. The inventory actives unsold would say they're not, but here we go. So notice this. On a typical year, Jacksonville is blowing out 3,000 to 3,500 units, always above 3,000 units. They're fortunately, most of this year, they're just over the line of, staying on the bottom side of what they usually would trend. So this year, Jacksonville looks like, obviously is selling a good bit more. Because last year, it just, kind of creased above the line, but didn't do a whole lot. So again, you can see, most of this market is up in here. Over time, it's in history. It's 3,000 to 4,000 units. Right now, it's looking like it's going to drop below 3,000. Probably going to spend a bunch more time down here. Probably collapse sales like it did last year. So we'll see how it goes. And as you saw on the active inventory line, it's elevated. Let's look at median sale price. How are prices doing? Again, much like Tampa, they peaked in June 2022 at 405,000. Last month, they're at 408,000. Okay. So 25 month run. They're approximately 0.5% higher than 2 years ago. Okay. It's a dead flat market. Looks like end of 2022, it trailed way off and it gained more energy. Isn't it interesting? Look at this. From the end of 2022, they went 405,000. By January, they went from 405,000 to 370,000. It's a 7% decline in this stretch of time. And it made a recovery because this is unusual to have your price slip that much in a fall season. Never happens. You don't see any fall off like that in history. This is what we're all watching for, is that this happens again and then doesn't pick up in the new year, because this was all government spending that brought this back. The interesting thing is we are most likely in Jacksonville and Miami and Tampa going to see this 2022 trail off with a lot more inventory this time, and possibly without this recovery going into spring of 2025. That is the fork in the road. That's the, this is when things get interesting, is do we see a recovery from correction? Here's the deal. When you look at this, when you look at the cards, there's way more active inventory, way more now than there was in 2022. So look what happened. So when the price started to run up, there was around 5,800 homes on the market. Okay. So when Jacksonville had 7% decline, state of Florida lost like 9% over that stretch. It took 5,600 units of inventory competing with each other to get out of the marketplace. Now you're going into the fall with 7,400 units. So yeah, more competing inventory. There's obviously a trend of late in Jacksonville where sellers are pushing more and more and more and more. Okay. And the sell-off is decent. So it'll be interesting to see. But if you keep running those numbers up, let's see what months of inventory is. Months of supply. Remember, we had a 3.6 in Tampa, or 3.7 in Tampa. We had 4.5 in Miami, and we have 4.1 in Tampa. I'm sorry, in Jacksonville. Sustained. So it looks like it's flattened out, which is a good sign. I expect, though, we're going into the fall. This will probably just kind of take off and stair step higher. But look at this. The history of this marketplace is 3.5, 3.7, 3.8. And again, when it stays elevated, if it keeps going up, that's going to precipitate correction in prices. Okay, let's take a look at Reventure. So we're going to zoom out. We're going to go to the Metro view, and we're going to look at our forecast here. All right, so let's get into the zip code level. Boom, Jacksonville. All right, we're going to go and let's find out where home price is growing and where it's sold. Okay. So up here, you can see the northern markets, even the downtown areas. Look at this, dead flat. So you can see the heart of downtown, 32206, 3.5 up, 3% up, 3.3 up, 333. A lot of it pretty much the same. You got this, looks like it's heavily park area. I doubt there's going to be a ton of real estate in this. Dead flat, negative, negative, negative. So, and then some of these downtown areas, these are very inexpensive markets, probably not great places to live. They're obviously seeing a falling price. But as far as home value is concerned, most of this balances out to flat. Sale inventory growth, okay? Look at the sale inventory. These are up over 100% to last year. So the south edge of the market, 120% up, 115% up. You can see that by and large, everything is up, except for this area out here at the north. Where is it up the most? Down to the heart. These are still big numbers. All these are big. Even the coastal areas, 102% in 32250, 71%, 32225, 32246, up 91%. So you see these are just elevated. Price cuts. Where the price cuts are high. 50% price cut level here, downtown. 32205, 54%. Jacksonville Beach, 48%. By the way, let's get to the condos for Duval. Look at median list price. Just slightly trailed off. But this is a bigger number than you think. It peaked, their asking prices on condos peaked in June of 2022 at around $298,000. Today, it's $259,000. It's soft. Let's go back. Look at this other market down here. Ponte Vedra Beach, price cuts 27%. St. Augustine, 28.9%. Yeah, so you're saying, Jerry, is that March? No, usually your market runs like 18%, 20%, 1 out of 5. Right now, 1 out of 3 people are cutting their price in order to sell their homes. Let's look at sale inventory month over month. So where did they, just from one month to the next, where did you see inventory shoot up? Well, look out to the west. Cold. These are tight markets. Cold, tight market, tight markets, tight markets in the south. Here, downtown, they're up 10%, 12%. That means there's a lot of inventory growth, particularly the downtown areas, coastal areas. Neptune Beach, up 10% month over month. 6 plus. Yeah, single month, big jump in unsold inventory. All right. That's it for now. That's everything for today's video. I am planning on getting back on to these market updates. I kind of took a break for a little bit, but obviously the time is now. I need to get back on it. Marketplaces are shifting, and I want to make sure you know what you need to know if you're considering buying or selling, or if you own a home right now, what is happening across Florida. So some of my next coming updates, I'm going to get back on the Gulf side, handle some of those, handle some of the central markets. I get a lot of requests for Ocala. I haven't done that in a long time. Probably the villages. I've never done the college towns. Gainesville and Tallahassee, I think could be really cool to jump into those because by and large, I kind of just passed them on the map. But let me know, what do you want me to cover next on this channel? Thanks so much for watching. And again, we'll see you on the next. Take care.